My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr., and I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today I'm talking about something that, I don't know why I was thinking about this, but it came to mind of the idea of being aggressive versus passive aggressive. And I believe that that's the reason why I just really like animals a lot. Because I know my own self, that I go the route of being passive aggressive more than I really care to be. I go more the route of saying things without saying things, doing stuff without actually doing it, and kind of having it like worst case scenario, setting up stuff today, not worrying about it today, but knowing that later on, you're going to know what I was doing. You're going to know what I was saying. You're going to know what's happening. And it's going to hit you in a way that you're not looking for it, but it's just going to find you. And I realized that's dangerous. And that's something that we as humans do that is just dangerous, as opposed to just being straight up and upfront. That's why I believe I really, really care for and really like, especially just my dogs at the end of the day. They just show what's going on right now, right this second. They're not beating around the bush. They're not trying to hide it. They're not trying to manipulate it. They're not trying to do anything, but just say, hey, I'm uncomfortable right now. So what are we going to do about it right now? As opposed to being uncomfortable and you just kind of like, or I should say the dog, in a sense of trying to like hold back its feelings, hold back its emotions, hold back what it wants to do, hold back the retaliation that it's trying to put and try to get you in a different way. Such as something that someone could say is, oh, the dog chewed up something of mine. It was mad at me. That's why it chewed it up. That's us being humans that are putting human thoughts in things that don't need to be there. And why I believe that most people are really just stumbling in life right now. You know, with other people, you got to be a little suspicious, a little weary. But especially just with the animals that are around, they don't function that way. They just don't. So we're always putting stories on based on, in reality, what it is that we're doing. So for me, I had a huge issue with really starting to just like be in peace, in unison with my animals, especially the dogs, because I would always like just kind of think that they're thinking like me, that they do what I do. So if I'm sitting here doing that, if I don't like the something you did, I don't really do anything about it right now, but I do something later on about it. I was like, oh, the dogs definitely do that. There's just no way that they don't, because it appears that that's what's going on. And in reality, they have no understanding, they can't possibly do that because they're just so in the moment right now with what's happening. And I believe that that's something that is real in reality, probably one of the most destructive things is us as humans. That I was just watching videos of like just politicians and pastors and all this stuff. And I was just really seeing a big common theme that they're not just upfront saying what they're saying. They're saying things with a message behind what they're saying. So, man, I can't remember the name of that book, but there's one guy that just has a phenomenal book on the idea of double talk, double speech. I don't know if they call it double speech or double talk, but saying something, but not actually saying what the words that are coming out, but you have a whole, say, hidden agenda behind the words that you're saying. And I'm just really listening to these people talk, especially, I don't know what it is nowadays. I've never been fascinated with politics, but it's super fascinating to me today. And just like watching these people and how the word I want to use is expert professionals they are at double talk and double speech and being able to say something, but they're not saying anything at all of what you think that they're saying. They're saying something completely different. And I believe that that's where we're messing up in society today, because we're allowing these people to be our leaders. We're allowing a leader to come in and say something that has nothing to do with what they're actually like intending, that they're saying things just to get you to react in that mode or that way in a whole nother area, a whole nother space. That is so dangerous. And until, I don't know, I believe that a lot of people have never even thought of that concept, that your parents, for instance, are saying something to you, your coworkers, your boss person, everyone around you, your religious leaders are saying things to you, but they actually have a whole different meaning behind it. That start to really pay attention. What do you want? Is a key question that I ask pretty much everybody that I meet. What do you want from me? Because unfortunately, pretty much everybody wants something from us. They want something. And there's going to be the slim few that are trying to help you for you. But even if they're trying to help you, they're still trying to help themselves with the help that they're trying to give to you. And if you're dealing and working with folks like that, that is something. Oh, you can go. You can go. Okay. That is something that is just devastating and hindering you and slowing you down to not being able to get to where I want to say is the peace that you're looking for. Because I hear this so much from, I mean, just talking pastors for a moment, it's the kind of the easiest because it's the easiest to be able to, you could, not every and any, but you can literally go to any church and just watch a video and see what the pastor's saying from the start. And then you'll realize what they're starting from to what they're trying to get you to do. And a lot of it, I don't know why, is about money. And a lot of it, when it comes down to that money, they'll come out with all these sermons that are just talking like, basically it's giving and how they prospered because they gave, how they prospered because they did all these works, how they prospered because how they just did all this work for the church for free, how they prospered, how great that they did. And they never really say, give me any money. They never say that. But the entire message is double speech in the sense of making you think that way and then kind of get it into your emotions of making you feel that guilt that you're not doing enough and see how these people are doing good. Like the churches just do this a lot. I can't go to one that like almost every single Sunday or Saturday, depending on who you're going to, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday you go to that they're not speaking this way, that they'll bring up an example. Oh, look at so-and-so, Susie so-and-so. She was struggling, she was hurting, and she finally just started to give. She started to just do, and her life started to just prosper, and it's such a blessing. They're not saying, hey, write me a check, give me the money. No, they're just doing it in a way of making you feel guilty that you're not, because they're doing good, they're getting everything they need, and you're not. That means that you're not doing what it is that they're doing. It's never just a straight up conversation. I like it. Now, every single time anybody ever on the streets, I'm not going to say this for people on YouTube, but still, depending, every single time that someone asks me for money, I give it to them. I straight up just give it to them. And they say, hey, man, especially, I don't know what it is. People just look at me. I don't know what it is. But a lot of times I'm at the gas station, like, hey, man, I need some gas. Hey, man, I'm hungry. And I'm like, I got you. I'll give you 20 real quick. I don't know why. I'm 100% aboard on that. Outside of someone just standing with their sign on the side of the road, I don't give them nothing. But if you walk up to me and say, hey, I need something, I'm hungry, I'm just going to give it to you because I like that honesty. You're not trying to say, oh, my stomach hurts, for me to ask questions. Oh, why is your stomach hurt? Oh, I can't get home, or I can't get to work, or I can't get the kids from daycare. As opposed to just saying, you know what? I just don't have money for gas right now to get the kids from daycare. Can you just help me out? I'm like, here you go, man. I got you. I can't stand it when people just are, say, beating around the bush about it to try to convince me to do it without just straight up saying it. And I believe that that's the biggest thing that's just going on the planet today. It's easy for me to see it in the sense of pastors, but I realize watching more of this political stuff that that's the same thing that they do. They're pulling on you to like get you to say vote for them. Is it the thing that they really want at the end of the day? They really don't want your money up front. They just want your vote, and then they want your money to like really get in you of like, if you really want to support my campaign, then give me money so that we can be able to push this further, so that more people can be able to. This is the same techniques that folks do on YouTube channels. The same stuff, the same thing is just everywhere, I've noticed. Instead of just saying, hey, can you give me $20 to help me with my campaign? They don't do that. They have all these speeches and all this talk and all this stuff to just draw you into, in the end, to make you just have this say feeling that it seems to come from your own free will, where, oh yeah, I do want to give. I do want to vote for you. I do want to do this off your own freedom. It manipulates you to make you think that it's you yourself that has actually have made that decision. When in reality, they're speaking to you to force that decision. And then if you don't make that decision, they make you feel guilty. So then you just go home with this sense of, the best way of saying it is not being in the in crowd, not following along with what everybody else is doing. That's why the biggest thing, especially in churches, is they always have the altar call. They're like at the end, they're like, anybody who wants to confess the name of Jesus, just walk on up here. And when that first person usually it takes a little time. It's not instant. Sometimes it's like 5 seconds, someone's up there. But sometimes a whole minute can go by, and a minute in silence of just playing the music and doing what they're doing, it feels like eternity. And in that minute's time, when one person goes, what starts to happen after that one person goes? All of a sudden, there's 100 people up there. All of a sudden, there's people up there that's already done this like 50 times already. Everyone just has to, it's like a group of a flood. Everybody has to go because they pulled the strings enough to make the first person feel guilty enough of like looking around. Wow, nobody's moving. Nobody's doing anything. So let me be the one to go up there and do that. To just start the flock in. And then, unfortunate. Do we actually know that person is not a, say, paid character that's doing that, especially in a political realm. Do we know that that person that is actually giving and standing up there and on their knee, Johnny, Kahi, hold on. We got a donkey malfunction right now. Are we good? Brownie, you can come over here, man. Your best bet is to stay closest to me. You sitting there antagonizing them, but I get it. You're supposed to. But you're not going to, I mean, you'll probably win against 4 dogs, but nah, he and them 4 dogs are still not going to win. Sorry, malfunction. What, it just is what it is. Especially in a political field that you got that one person that goes up there and preaching to everyone else like this person is the best, this person is the greatest, this person is going to help transform our neighborhoods and it's going to help the nation, it's going to help the world, it's going to be able to do such great things. How do we know that that person isn't just put there to be able to get everyone else to finally just join in? And instead of just saying straight up, this is what I want to do, they have to use all these little things all around to try to get their message across. That's the thing that I believe is dangerous. But the thing that I like when I look at it and see it today is just so silly. Because if your message was good, if your message was sound, if your message was meaningful, you don't, for one, especially, need the music. And most people, they always playing the music. They always got the music going to set the tunes. And I like playing with on my phone. They got the GarageBand. I mean, I don't like playing it too much because I get stuck in it for a couple hours every time that I start just playing stuff. But I can play certain sounds and certain things. I'm going to do that on my next video just to show you more of what I'm talking about. I can literally talk about nothing, but put a certain set of music on, and it's going to instantly make you like feel something. And then the main thing is you're not listening to anything that I'm saying. You're listening to your own self of what you want and what you desire, what you see is like what you want, as opposed to what I'm even saying. So that music kind of draws you away from what I want to say is reality, and it puts you into this fake realm. And once that music gets going, it's like, if your message is good, you just don't need it. If your message is good, you don't need to do something real big, charity events and charity things. If your message was good, you don't need to have all these people that you need to like pay and put in to be able to make yourself look to be a way. If your message was good. And that's the thing that I just realized, that unfortunately most people's messages just really aren't good. It really isn't of value because they need all this stuff to be able to get to you. Because even in a political conversation or what do you call it, speeches that they give, they're playing all the music. And this stuff, this last presidential stuff, they had their little rallies and stuff, and they're bringing in like superstars, like they're trying to bring in Beyonce's and Jay-Z's and Swift's and all these people to their events to try to get them to sing, to get them to do stuff, to what? To hide what they're actually saying, to hide what they're actually doing. They're trying to bring this music in. They're trying to say, hey, I'm cool with these people and you like these people. So if you like these people, I like these people, then you must like what I say and what I'm doing. It's all absolute mass manipulation. And it's just that the biggest thing of being, at the end of the day, passive aggressive. They're not upfront just saying what it is they're saying. They have to beat around the bush with what they're saying to try to make it not seem so bad, even though it is. Kahi, just get off my man. Get off my man. They try to just make it seem to be a way that it really isn't. And that's why I really just like the animal. Like right there. He's cool. He doesn't like that my other dog is just like on him. So he's just like, give me space and I don't care. We're good. He's fine. As long as he just leaves him alone. He's just like, I'm not going to do anything. Even if he gets too close, he's all on him. So Kahi spent his first night in the house last night. So he's really just fully integrated with all the household now. He's no longer living in his kennel in the back. He's fully integrated. And he can be he could lay right next to him. He could lay, they could touch heads. They could lay there. They're fine. As long as he's just like, just you lay over there. I lay over here. Stop eyeballing me. Get off me. I'm totally fine. He's just straight up about it. He's not putting a plot and a plan together of how he's going to get back at this dog. He's just, I don't like you. In the moment, right now, I'm going to tell you what I don't like. And he has a very interesting growl. He doesn't growl like any of them. I wish I could like get a video, like get a mic on. I might be able to get a mic on him. I could put one on the collar. To hear his sound, it sounds so different. But it's not like he's just right here, right now, right this moment saying, I don't like this. He's not, I don't like you, so that he's going to set something up at the house later on to try to get back at him. Like he's setting up a trap over here. He's sitting here peeing in his food bowl here. He's going to knock the water over so that he can't get any more water. He's not doing any of these things. He's just, what's happening right now? This is what's going to happen. And it's so beautiful. It's, it's so neat. It's so cool. It's just, I don't know what it is, but still, the more that I just really just watch the animals, I start to really learn so much more of how to be able to bring peace and order. And someone might think of order as being a bad thing, as like it needs to be some sort of dictatorial type, communistic type thing, but it doesn't. Order happens, and it has to happen, and it needs to happen to be able to make sure that everything is functioning correctly. And when that order is in place, it is just so beautiful. But that order has to come in place through just what I want to say is being straight up, not being beaten around the bush about it, not being passive aggressive about it, but just being, if you just don't like somebody, just say it. Just say it. I don't like somebody and have to build an army of people to try to get them to see my views and be my views the same way. So then now we all can come over and try to get at you. That's not real. Your message is fake. Your message is invalid in a way of it's meaningless because you can't just get it out on your own. You have to lie. You have to cheat. You have to steal. You have to manipulate. You have to name call. You have to gossip. You have to do all of these things to be able to get other people to be able to gain forces with you so that now you can be able to do what it is that you actually want to be able to do, as opposed to just upfront saying what you want. If these politicians and these pastors and these preachers and these ministers and these priests would all just stand up and just say what they want right in the beginning, I'm going to almost guarantee every single person is not going to listen to a single thing that they have to say. Not going to listen to nothing they have to say. Nothing. They're just going to hear what they have to. This is what I want to do. And they're going to give you your checklist of what they actually really want. No one is, not no one, but most no one is going to want to go on board with that. No one's going to want, they're going to want to make it a mission to say, I want to get that person. I want to stay away from that person as much as absolute possible. That's the reality of what we have here today. And we're listening to these people because they're able to get into your emotions, because they're getting into your emotions in such a passive aggressive way, in a way that is just not real. It's a way of absolute manipulation. And for whatever reason, the people that have the best way of being able to doublespeak are the most influential, most powerful people. Why? I don't know. Maybe it's because we don't really understand this information. And at the same time, maybe it's because that's just what we as a people actually really want and desire in the end. Because we want people that are in reality the same as us. And if you're hurt, broke, depressed, not broke in the sense of money, but broken, is a better way of saying it, depressed, anxiety, suicidal, all these things. If you're all these things, in reality, you want everyone else to be that same way. Why? That's one question that if anybody can figure that answer, man, I'll watch and listen and try to figure that out. But when you're hurt, pretty much you want everyone else around you to hurt. When you broke, you want everyone else to be broke. When you're doing really good, you want everyone else to be doing really good. And it's kind of just a weird thing, but not even on that sense, because I've noticed that when you're doing good, you kind of are trying to beat down and make sure that you can maintain that. And in the sense of thinking that there's not enough for everybody, that if somebody else is able to get to be as good as you are, then you're going to lose what it is that you have and what it is that you're doing. That's just the thinking that I've just noticed of most people on this planet. And so when you're sitting here in a high anxiety ridden state and you're watching these politicians talk and you're hearing this language that's feeding off of that, or especially when it comes down to a sense of anger, when that politician is getting into your emotions of your anger, you're kind of wanting to, I want that person to be my leader. I want that. And that's what I want to say is the death of us as humans. As opposed to wanting to get better, we seem to want to double down and just keep getting worse. Instead of finding some good folks, we want to just keep double down and just keeping evil people around. Because there's so much and so often that people are like, I'm just sick and tired of this politician. I'm sick and tired of this person. But yet we vote them in. We vote them in. If we don't like either one, why wouldn't we just, as a collective of a group of people, just say, you know what? I'm not voting for none of that. I'm going to wait until something else comes around and something else comes in. But that's not what we do. They pull on your emotions to make you think like this is the only option. And if you don't take that option, then we're not going to have anything. No, that's just dumb. Again, further in their double talk, that whole passive aggressive way. You better take this or else. And that or else, they're not going to tell you the or else. They're going to just let it play out to let you just get stuck in the middle of it. It's like right now what's going on in the States with our government stuff right now. They're playing passive aggressive just little childish little things to try to get people to move, to get people to react, to get people in their feelings, to get people to get angry, to just keep pushing that to make sure that you make a rash, hostile, there we go, foolish decision that's really not the benefit for us. It's just only the benefit for that person that already had that checklist of what they wanted, but they just didn't say up front what they wanted. So we're living in this world in a way of living in our emotions and living in our feelings, but living in a way that people just aren't upfront. And the more that people are not upfront, the more that for some reason we ourselves are starting to do and be that exact same way. It starts right away with us as little baby children living in our houses, and we see our parent do something like that to us. They're like, oh, you can't have this, or you can have this. And then they put this list of things to try to mold you, to make you to be, to make you like something that you really don't really care about. And then you look at that and you're like, huh, that's interesting. I want to try and do that myself. And then we start to try and keep doing it. And then the more and more we do that, we realize, hey, a lot of times this stuff actually really works. It works in what I want to say is in a short-term way, but it works for your benefit, but not for the benefit of the others that you're doing that to. And that's the thing that is weird about, I don't know what it is, but especially here in the States, it's kind of the idea of this is my world and I don't really care about anything or anybody else. That I get what I will lie and cheat and steal to be able to make sure that I'm good. And everyone else, forget y'all. I don't really care. That's not a good way to live on this land. It's a good way to live of, just let people do what they do. But it's not a good way to live of trying to force people to do what you want them to do. That's just a whole lot of extra. This is why I can see that a lot of people are living in a high level of anxiety, because you're literally trying to do this, and it's going to force you to just be always on edge, because you're trying to force somebody or something to be able to do what you want them to do, and you're pretty much just never going to be able to live in peace, because you're always on edge with making sure that you keep this up to make sure that they stay in line, that they're in order at all the time. And that's not a good way to be able to maintain and be able to keep order. That's how I could just see it with how my dogs are and how they function, that why I could just be able to sit and relax and don't have to look at it, because the order is there without the dogs having to be able to do anything to each other than what's happening in that second. If the dog is trying to plot and plan of in the future of what I need to do to make sure that I can be able to maintain this to be good, as opposed to just being yourself and just being able to get away from the manipulation and the lies, they're going to go absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. There's no way that they're going to be able to just live just calm and be able to peace and just lay down and just be able to relax. And I think that that's where us as humans are falling into that issue, that we're trying to make things be a way, and then we have to stay on top of that. So the easiest way of saying that is, once you start to lie, you got to keep the lie. And it's so much easier, even though it may be hard for you at first to just tell the truth. But the lie is really hard, because you can tell a simple lie to somebody. And then now when someone else over here comes to you and says, oh, so-and-so said, and you're like, no, now you got to keep that lie. And then so-and-so over here and over there and over there and over there, all these places starts to come to you. Now you got to keep that lie. And now you got to remember that lie. Now you got to just keeping that lie in your brain to keep coming up with conversations that you're going to say if somebody asks you about that. You got to keep those pre-thought little statements of what you're going to respond with every single time that somebody says this. You're living in anxiety. There's no way you can live in peace, because you're having to keep up with something that isn't even real. So you're constantly thinking of things in reality that aren't true, that aren't real. So the more and more that you're doing that, the more and more you're getting disconnected from reality, as opposed to just telling the truth. They're just saying, I just can't be there. Something just as simple and small, just being able to say to your employer or your boss man, your manager, you know what, I was late. Why were you late? Or just saying, this is why I was late. As opposed to coming up with this story. I had this, I had this, I had this, I had this. And then a year later, something happens and they ask you about it. And now you have to actually tell them the truth. And then they're like, well, you were lying to us this entire time. Now they're just going to have to let you go. As opposed to just saying it up front. It's one thing that I believe that most people get shocked at nowadays, is if you just say straight away what's going on. People are shocked. They're like, whoa. And then in reality, especially if it comes down to, like, say, a parent-child type situation, you think that you're going to get in such big trouble if you just tell the truth. You'd be shocked that most cases, they're just going to look at you and they're going to say, like, wow. And then they're going to have a self-reflection of, like, they're just so honest. They're just honest, super honest. And in most cases, you're not even going to be able to have to do anything about it. The parent may like lash out for a moment, like, I knew you did it, this and this, but give it 10, 15 minutes. They're going to stop and say like, man, he just told me. he just said what it is. He just said what happened without having to come up with the story. And in most cases, the story is we may not recognize it and see it as real at first, but through time we're going to start to piece things together. Like, what actually really did happen? What actually really was going on? So in reality, it's not only just hurting your own self by doing that, but it's hurting others around you that you're doing that too. So you're just keeping this whole household, this whole workforce, this whole nation under this high level of anxiety, all because of a very few people want to just keep on lying about things. Thank you. This is hands down my favorite dog. The more I'm closer and closer to him, the more I have him in the house and cooking and just doing what it is that I'm doing. This dog's, I don't even want to say smartness. He's intelligent with being able to understand what I want, but his willingness to just, so for instance, when I'm in my house, when I'm cooking, I don't like dog. Johnny's the only one. I don't know why, but he just lays down. No one's allowed in the kitchen. Like never in the kitchen. Even if I'm just going to go get a glass of water real quick, like that, there's the entranceway, I guess I could say. You're not allowed to pass that unless I specifically look at you and say, okay, come on, so that we can go out the back door. But no one's allowed in the kitchen. And this dog is just so darn neat. He's so cool that 3 times of me saying, hey, buddy, nuh-uh, just stay out of here. Nuh-uh, stay out of here. Then on the 3rd time, I just like, lay down. Like, get down. Because I don't want you in here. He's like, he has already not gone past that threshold when I go in there. He stands there, he looks at me, he's like, what's up, what's up? Like, it's incredible how fast. And then getting out of the house, getting out of the patio. So at night when I'm doing anytime, sometimes I walk off the patio that I just don't want the dogs to go. I want y'all to just stay because I'm coming right back. I'm going to the van real quick, or I'm just something real quick. And I tell them to wait. Like literally 3 times I tell this dog to wait. And he already just stops and he just stands there. And then most cases already, he just like disengages, he walks back and he just goes and lays down. It's incredible like how fast that he's able to just do what I'm looking for. But in my mind, it doesn't come through training, having to do this sit, down. It has to do because he's wanting to follow my lead. He follows my leadership because everything is just straight up. There's no weird stuff happening. I'm not mad at him for something that he did before, and I'm going to try to get back at him for something that was going on that he has no idea what's going on. Because that's how we as humans work. And then we start to do that with everything in our lives, especially with the dog, because the dog is strange and how they're able to like really almost mimic us as humans. They mimic us in lots of ways, but not in the way of how we double talk and how we're do all this passive aggressive stuff. They just don't do that. So when I function with him, he just wants to follow my leadership in such a, that's the best words to use, non-threatening way. Non-threatening. He's like, okay, I'll listen. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll stop that. Okay, I'll get out of there. Okay, I'll go and I'll wait there. Okay, I'll lay down right there. It's just the darn neatest. It's just the neatest of the neatest. It's weird because I've had this dog for 5 years, and this is the first time he's ever spent the night, and first time he's ever just sat and hung out on my patio. In 5 years, and in that time, it's almost like I've been working on that for 5 years. It's almost like everything that he does that I've been working so much, like especially with my Dalmatian in the house, with trying to get her to stay out of the kitchen, was like a year thing to work on. She's like, you sure? But he's just so wanting to please. That's just what this dog is all about. I'd be excited. I want to get a couple more. I kind of want to get into the Dutch Shepherds next. I want to get a couple of them to just keep seeing how these guys how they work. They're more wanting to please than any other dog that I've ever had. He's just like, yeah, master, I'll get it done. You wanted this? You wanted that? I'll do that. I say to wait, he just freezes. I say to lay down, he's like, okay. My other dogs, I got to kind of look at him a little extra, like, come on, man, let's do it. It's such an amazing thing. It's so cool. He's starting to become a really nice dog. Because last night he protested for the first time. I believe the first time in a long time, because he thought that I was going to come back and put him in his kennel at night. So he just stayed at the patio. I'm out walking around doing my little nighttime rat hunting, and he stays at that patio. And I'm like, why are you staying over? You can come over here. He is nervous of the pellet gun, so I got to get him desensitized to that. So I got to shoot it a lot around him without him being able to run away. So that's one thing. But he knows I'm going to take him and put him back over there, because that's what I've been doing this past like couple month in reality. Is you hang out with us all day, but you got to go back to your kennel at night. And this is the first time that he just stood on that patio like, I want to stay here. We're doing good. I just want to stay here. I'm like, cool, man. Just stay. And man, oh my goodness, it's just such a neat thing. It's so neat. Get him to calm down. And in my mind, the way I look at it is I'm going to force the calm with using a 6-foot leash. And they can't do anything other than stay on that leash. And then they're eventually going to just settle. And then you can start to go into amazing, great things where I'm going to approach the situation with what I see in the moment, not approach the situation on trying to do something later on with what I saw earlier. A lot of people, I believe most people do that. The dog disobeyed a cue or a command that you gave it, and you don't do anything about it right there. You'll wait. And then later on, you're like, oh, you didn't do that right. So then you try to start to work on it. That's not the way leadership works. You're gonna address the situation. Or I want to say is good leadership, quality leadership, not even good, quality. Quality leadership is going to address the situations right then and there with what's going on. I'm not going to come back and get you later. I'm not going to come back and do something to you to make you regret what you did to me. I'm going to address the situation right there, right now, right this second. And when you do that, you'll realize that everything is just going to settle, calm down, and just... Where's my parodies at? Oh. Settle, calm down, and just absolutely just be so calm, so relaxed, so chill, that now we're able to have a dialogue. You see what you don't like, and you just, okay, I don't like that. And then, with children, me personally, read a lot of books on this, and I truly believe it, is explain why you're doing what you're doing. I'm not going to do that to a dog, because the dog doesn't understand, but I'm going to do what I do. But if the child is saying, hey, but why do I got to do that? And you explain why you're doing, you're going to see amazing things. You're going to do it in that moment. You're not going to sit here and do things, because the more you don't say or do what you need to do, the more you're automatically being passive aggressive about what you're going to do, because they did something you don't like. Now you're thinking about what they did that you don't like. Now you're kind of going to start to just do weird things to be able to just kind of get back at that without just addressing it head on. If we just address our issues head on, life is so simple. It really is. But for some reason, how it comes down to these so-called leaders, especially these politicians, especially these pastors and religious leaders and stuff, they can't just say their message up front, because they wouldn't be able to get their following. They wouldn't be able to get their money. They wouldn't be able to get their votes. So they have to do all of these things. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, people that want to lead are the ones that shouldn't. They just shouldn't be doing it. You should be called to do that, because a lot of people around saw what that person was doing and says, yeah, okay, I want to follow that, because of how that person exhibits themselves with what they do. I saw that person in a real sticky situation. I saw them handle it and be able to get through it. I want to follow that. It should be us as a collective group of seeing somebody to be able to want to do that, as opposed to a person standing up saying, I'm going to be a leader. I would never want, I would be super weary and suspicious of anybody that does that. Anybody. It's like, I'm a leader. I was called by God. I did this. It's something, I want to do this. Be suspicious and very weary of that, because they haven't, say, proved themselves for enough people to actually be able to look at them and recognize that they actually are that. And that's why at the end of the day, people that are that, they don't last in groups. A person that is a true leader next to, say, a person that wants to be, they have to get rid of them, because they are a threat to that person, and people are going to start to be able to see that through time. That's a huge thing in churches. That's a really unfortunate, that the pastor, man, they instant, or they'll just do extreme passive aggressive things to people that someone else can say, oh yeah, so-and-so said something, they were ready to help me. And then when you keep hearing that from all kinds of people, that pastor is going to have to fire that person or do something to that person to make sure that they have to get out. Because I experienced that going to the dang dog training school that I went to. I'm sitting here trying to help folks and be able to get folks to be able to get better. And when you just have a talent to you that is just easy, people are going to come to you and start to ask questions. But the people that are actually the leaders, that are so-called leaders, that fight to try to be it, they're going to do everything they can to sabotage. So when I was there at the dog school, they were like, "Don't talk to Mark. You know, who is he? He's just an intern. He's not an employee. He doesn't have 20 years experience. Don't listen to him. Listen to us." And then they got the whole group of people there to just like stop even conversating with me at all. For me personally, it was a very eye-opening, amazing experience for me to be able to see. It was such a cool thing. You know, it didn't sit right with me up front, but it was just the neatest thing to see that somebody felt threatened with what I do. I mean, I get that stuff with YouTube, for instance. People make all kinds of videos, video after video after video, all kinds of different places, and it's simmering down now, in a sense, because they just realize that you can't stop me. I can make videos what I want. I can keep posting them. You don't have power over that. I'm not working for you. You can't fire me. You can't do anything. I can keep doing what it is that I'm doing. But they try to do everything they can to like, don't listen to that, but you got to listen to me. And they want to be a leader. And they have to do all this stuff, again, of like creating a mob, creating a group to get all the people, play on their emotions, play on their feelings, slander, gossip, name call, to get everyone over there to look at that person like, yeah, they are no good. This stuff's just been going on with me my entire life in reality, since I've just ever can remember. And it's something that is weird with me that I could say is, I used to lie when I was a little kid. But one day I just stopped. I said, I don't care if I hurt your feelings right now. I'd rather just get it over with. I'd rather just say what happened. I'd rather just make it happen. I remember I got in trouble quite a bit in my early, or I guess in my late teens, that I go to the courtroom and the judge is like, "Did you do this?" I'm like, "I sure did. I'm guilty as all can be." You're not supposed to do that. You know, you go to court, you're supposed to not guilty, get your lawyer, do this. I'm just like, buddy, I did it. I did it. Every single time, 100% case, the judge just looked at me like, okay. And I walked out of there every single time. Every single time. I just stood there. I did it. I broke it. I stole it. I did that. I had it in my car. I was driving too fast. I was driving too slow. I was parked where I shouldn't have been parked. I had all kinds of weird stuff on me all the time. And I would just walk in there every single time. Yeah, I did it. I did it. I did it. And things just were so easy in life. And I believe that, like, especially like in the courtroom, the judge like never hears that. So when they finally have someone that comes in and just says, "Yep, it was me," you'd be surprised at how people respond and react to you, because they're going to have our own self-reflection of like, dang, how's he able to do that? How's she able to just be so open like that? And it's going to get them to, these pigs are just the darn cutest. It's just going to get them to have to just like have their own self-audit. What am I doing here? I'm doing something wrong, because I got to keep these stories. The stories are keeping you in a high level of anxiety. The stories, the fake stories. Social media is keeping people in anxiety, not because it's social media, but because you're putting fake stories out there that you're trying to keep yourself like to look to be a way that you're not actually being. I'm open and as free and as could be. That's why I don't personally have any sort of anything with anything that I do. Nothing's perfect. The dogs are running at the donkey for a little bit over there. The dogs are probably going to mess with my pigs here for a little bit, but they're on the other side of the fence, so they really can't mess with them. But it's me. I don't speak perfectly all the time. I mess up words. Everything don't come out right. It just is what it is. I don't try to act like I got all this money, and I don't try to look like I ain't got no money. I don't try to look like I'm got the fanciest, all the fancy things. I don't do any of that. But that's what most people are doing on social media. And you're lying. You're lying in that way of trying to portray something. And you have to keep that going. You keep it going. And then you have to get other people to see you to be that way. And then you just have to keep that going with those other people. And then now when someone else new comes in, you got to keep it going. And then if you ever slip, my goodness, that's the end of it. That's the end of you at the end of the day. And that's why a lot of people are just living in a whole lot of anxiety because of social media. You're posting fake things, not real stuff. Everything is just so phony. You can't actually do it. And things aren't actually going the way that they're going, the way that you say it is. YouTube is cool because at least I can make a video. But Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, it's most cases just a picture. You post a picture like, oh, look at my life. And then after that, because our phones do what? How fast is a picture? Like a tenth of a second? Not even. A 200th of a second or a 100th of a second. So 100, yeah, whatever. And so that's not even a second. You're trying to portray like that's what you're doing all week. And that's just the death of humans. And we got pastors that do that. We got politicians that do that. We've got all these people that do that. That is just so dangerous.